What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and listen, hopefully you guys like that little intro. That intro was from Konsept Studios, and here's some more from them. Check it out. Listen, Konsept Studios has the tools to develop affordable 3D models, scenes, custom logos, text animations, and video editing for your projects and your businesses. Contact Konsept Studios by emailing conceptcoasters@me.com. Listen, you got to go check them out. Kurt is one of those guys that is part of our community, part of our just kind of our sports, our alternative football, the community that we have here. And in times like these, we need to stick together. And listen, guys, I appreciate Kurt being part of this community, and I appreciate, just all that he does. He does some great work. If you need any type of this type of work, any 3D modeling, any video editing, anything like that, anything in kind of that realm, check him out, contact him. I think that it'll work out great for you, and I think that it'll be a cool thing. And also, too, listen, we need to stick together, especially in times like these, and hit me up. I mean, I have no problem putting you guys out here and letting everybody know, what services you guys do. Anything that we can do for each other in a time like this is huge. So reach out to me, email me, message me, send me a message, and yeah, I'll definitely try to, give you a little spotlight in one of my upcoming videos and something like that. But I do appreciate Kurt sponsoring this video and that with it. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this. This is part 2 of our interview with Ernesto Lacayo, and he was just an amazing interview. And I saved this because I wanted it to just kind of get us excited for the XFL sale, get us back into that frame of mind of what XFL was for all of us and what it meant to all of us. And just the interview that I had with him just brought that spark back. And so I hope that this is encouragement for you. And yeah, we'll get into kind of all of everything that's going into the sale and everything that we know throughout the week. But I just want to start the week off building it up to when we find out later on this week who, or probably the beginning of the next week, who knows, who is going to be the owner of the XFL and where the XFL is going to go from there. So I just kind of want to whet your appetite for just the excitement that's coming up this week. So hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the interview with Ernesto. All right, check it out. So Coach Zorn, did you get to spend any time with him at all?
Yeah, from the first workout we had, I mean, he was like introduced, like, hey, you guys, we're looking for a kicker today. You guys are highly respected. Good luck today. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Coach Zorn. And as he's walking away, he's like, Ernesto, you got your bus here? I'm like, no, I flew here. Oh, okay. And I was like, no, it's just weird. I'm trying to get ready for this workout. And then once I won the job and everything, I think it was like every other day in the morning, Coach Zorn had this come out to the field, and he would always love to talk about VW. It was like, because he had a VW bug that he drove to every home game in the 80s. And so we had that share of, like, he's a big car guy, but he's a really big VW guy. So we always talked like that. And so it was always that. It was just always VW. He's a quirky guy. But like another guy who loved wrestling, he would always put on WWE legendary fights before every team meeting, and it was awesome. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, all right, so you go to do the XFL tryout, So what happens with that? Because I think you got a pretty funny story with that one too. I think that one's hilarious.
So I mean, we had the workout, and even after the workout, I had a really good day of the workout. But I have been in various situations with the Bears and the Niners where I've done almost everything exactly what they wanted me to do, but I've lost the position to a younger guy. And so I was in the same situation. We had the workout. They're like, hey, we're going to grab some lunch. So we grabbed some lunch. And, one of the kickers that has been in the workout, which, it wasn't his best day, but, we all know the strategy. If you know somebody on the team, you make it seem like you know everybody and you can pull that card. Some guys, they get the job, because they're like, oh, well, this guy knows people. So we're having lunch. I have no idea anybody on the team. And as we're waiting and they deliberate and they end up choosing me, they're like, hey, you're going to be our kicker. I'm like, oh, okay. So how does this work? got to go home and get my car from the airport parking lot. He's like, no, you can't go home. And I'm like, I have my cleats and that's about it. Whereas the other two guys have their 2 suitcases ready to go. And I'm like, I only came here with my cleats, literally. Cleats and a jacket and pants on. And then they're like, well, you can't go. And I should be happy, excited that I got signed. But here I'm thinking, who the heck is going to move my car? What clothes do I have? I have no clothes here. And so I had to make a call.
You're thinking like a real guy,
daughter. Yeah. I'm thinking,
right.
Man, I don't know who can drive stick. I'm not sure who I know that can drive stick and move my car. So, thinking about the normal things, and I'm sitting in my hotel room in my snapper. He's like, hey, that's congratulations. Looking forward to work with you. I'm like, yeah. He's like, everything's all right. I'm like, yeah, I got no clothes here, and I don't know if they're going to move my car. He's like, why didn't you bring any clothes? I'm like, I didn't think I was going to win the job. Like, he's puzzled. He's a young man. He's like, oh, man, that sucks. So I called Coach Zorn's daughter, who was in charge of a lot of the things on our team as far as organizing stuff. And she's like, I completely understand. Let me give my dad a call. So I'm waiting for her phone call. And I get a different number, and it happened to be Coach Zorn. He's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, Coach, again, thank you for the opportunity. And I'm sure he's thinking, oh, great, I'm going to lose this guy right now for something. I'm like, Coach, I have no clothes. I left my car. Do you think I can just show up tomorrow? He's like, yeah, we have nothing tomorrow. Go ahead. So I had to take an Uber. I have 20 minutes before the flight leaves because I'm thinking about what's going on. So get to the airport. Had to give my taxi driver an extra tip to get me as fast as he can. And sure enough, I get on the same plane, and again, I'm sitting next to my 2 friends in the same plane on the same row. And it's a lot more quieter on the ride back, I'll say that much. It's a lot more quieter. So, but I was able to get my things and come back and, just be able to pretty much get the physicals done and get with the team. And, the rest is history, just being able to be there with the guys. But as I got back to the Seattle in the first team meeting, Coach Zorn's like, hey, we got a new player. He's from the Arena Leagues. And I'm like, oh, great, here we go. So I had to stand up, and I'm like, I hope I don't have to sing my alma mater song here. But no, he was just presenting, the arena guy. And I can just hear the whisper. They're like, how old is this guy? So, yeah.
Yeah, dude, no, that's awesome. And that's the thing about the XFL. So cause you guys, it really truly felt like you guys really enjoyed your time there. Just from watching, it just felt like everybody really, how you can, I don't know. It just seems like even some of the big time college football, like there's no fun in it anymore. It's not a game.
Right.
And you guys, yes, I mean, you guys are fighting for your lives. You're fighting to better your careers, like everybody else is. But it seemed like you guys were having fun. Am I just only getting the good side of it, or was it seriously an enjoyable time for you guys?
Every second, and I tell people every day that ask me about the XFL, what was it like? And I always tell them it was extremely fun. It was, for me, it was a very euphoric moment for my career, just be able to do that and play. But what was fun was that, the camaraderie was there. We had a great camaraderie with the team in Seattle. But what made it really enjoyable, because I come from the arena leagues, and what makes it important in arena is the whole fan to player experience. And that's what I liked about Seattle. They embraced us everywhere we went. People were like happy that we're here playing with them, even though we share the same stadium as the Seattle Seahawks. They just embraced the game, and then just the whole organization from top to bottom. They were so hands-on, being able to let fans communicate with us with them, and just the experience of, just having fun. Not just the whole time, okay, football, of course, is what we're paid to do, but it's also, it helps us to wind down and be able to be ourselves, be characters, and let the fans in. Whereas I feel like, at times, I think that's what football is getting away from, because I think the fans need to be able to see exactly who we are as human beings, and at the same time interact with them. And it was just fun the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me. It's so frustrating. So I sit down and we got this whole, I'm not going to say it, even though they say that they're not going to demonetize things now, but you know what's going on in the world. And
Right.
and so I'm sitting on my couch and there's no sports. And so they've got these, NFL films. All right, well, whatever. I'll start watching these things, and I start seeing these videos of these characters, of these guys. You don't find out about it until 10, 15 years later, when the guy isn't even in the career. That that this was a cool dude, and these guys did all these things. And they, the camaraderie of the players or whatever. This guy was a goofball, or he every time he was on the field, the other team hated it because he would do X, Y, and Z, or they were just
Right.
The new guy was always told, hey, watch out for so and so because they do this and that. But you don't hear about this stuff. The XFL, we got to see that from day one, from training camp. I loved it. It was fantastic for me. I mean, I don't know from your side, but I love that.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of fans express that same feeling. They love the fact that they were able to come to practices, to see us perform, see us, our interactions, not only with each other as players, but, for me as a kicker, kids tend to gravitate towards us a lot because, that's what they do. When we were kids, we play soccer and we kick the ball, and it's something that was relatable. So you need to be interacting with kids. I mean, you just to see their eyes, get big every time you approach them. I want them to know that, hey, thanks for coming out here, guys. We appreciate it. You want to kick a ball, and they're always nervous, but I'm like, just come have fun. Just play catch with me and everything. And then fans love that. And the fact that they, the league wanted us, they told us, just be you. You guys be these characters. Don't change anything up. You guys are free reign. That was the best thing because, in the NFL, it's like, the no fun league. We didn't get that in the XFL. It was just fun. It's something that I will always cherish every single moment of my time there.
Dude, I love that. People are gonna love the fact that you said that, the no fun league.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We all pursue that dream of playing the NFL and everything. I mean, that's the thing is that I, as a guy who has always played spring ball, because people don't think there's professional ball in spring. There's always been arena. The thing is, looking for these opportunities, especially for the young guys, the next generation who need opportunities that come from small schools and don't get that first shot in the NFL. There needs to be spring ball to give opportunities for this and for them to develop their skills and chase their dreams.
Dude, I mean, this is something I've been harping on for a while, and you watch the channel, those of you guys out there who are watching this video, I harp on this. I don't understand why we can't have more football in the United States of America. If smaller countries than us can have, 4 or 5 different soccer leagues, why can't we be able to pull off more than one professional football league? I don't understand that. I mean, where everybody else is, whether it be arena football or whether it be any type of spring football, why we can't have that and why people put their nose down at it is beyond me. I don't understand that. I mean,
right.
It baffles my mind, and thankfully you and I are kind of on the same page, with that one, because you guys are world class, athletes. I mean, I'm And listen, you're a guy who you've been, so you've had NFL tryouts. You've been at pretty much every level. I mean, you've seen these guys. The guys in the XFL were legit. You guys are legit.
Yes.
And it's good football.
Yes,
I don't understand. I'll throw this back to you, but I don't understand. Why, if it's good football, we had good games. There were one or two blowout games, but majority of all of the games you guys had were close games within one possession in the fourth quarter. I don't get it. But then again, we'll see. I don't know, Ernesto. I'll let you go ahead, and because this is kind of one of those things that you really you got to experience and live, not just being befuddled by it like me.
Yeah, the spring, it's just like you're saying. I don't know why there isn't much more football that should be as far as the professional level as far as the NFL. Whereas the XFL, you give that opportunity. And it was good football. I played against some great athletes and played along with some great guys and big names. And, you look at them like, okay, well, I've been to all the workouts in the Niners, Chicago Bears, and I've seen athletes there. I'm like, I feel like everyone is almost the same. Now, perhaps so-and-so had a bad record here, or didn't go to the big school, or didn't have the big name, and therefore sometimes they fall for the cracks and everything. But, why this country doesn't accept it more is beyond me. Because there's times I have arguments with some friends of mine. They're like, well, it's not as high scoring as the NFL. And I'm like, how many times do you really legitimately see a blowout or a high scoring NFL game? It's, that's the thing.
Are they really watching is my question.
It's exactly. I'm like, well, when did you actually tune into the game, or what are you really watching? And like, if you really want a high scoring football game, then I'm like, go watch an arena football. I guarantee you'll get up to the 70s. So
right.
That's the thing.
Yeah, It just it baffles my mind. It's crazy. Just with that, and I sit there and I think sometimes, whether it's guys are just getting paid, this or that, but to bash on the XFL, and they don't even watch it, and you can tell that they didn't even watch you guys, like, because the people that watched you guys were like, oh. At first they're kind of like, it's funny. I had these conversations when the XFL first came out. You talk with guys. You're like, hey, did you watch the XFL? And they're like, they're like, yeah. And you're kind of like feeling each other out. Because like you said, it comes off as like the wrestling hokey. And listen, I'm a guy. I love professional wrestling too. So I love the fan. That was. Like I'm a big wrestling fan, from way back. So the wrestling thing to me is a moot point. But you start out the conversation like that, and then they're like, yeah, I kind of watched it. It was all right. And then as soon as somebody says it's like all right and like it's okay football, then you can talk about it as football. But it just seemed like it was
right.
like at first, and I'm like, but those were people that tried it. And then you have the people that just want to knock it, but you can tell that they never really watched it. And I don't know if you ran into any of that at all either.
Unfortunately, I had never run into like those individuals that would bash like that. But I did see like the comments that people are always posting. For example, when people post something positive or some news comes out about the XFL being bought, you see a lot of people just trying to bash it, not giving it a chance. And you start to wonder, are they true football fans? Because a true football fan would love to continue seeing football all year round. And that's the thing, is that maybe it's just in our nature that we just want to keep bashing it, want to give it until it gives it a legitimate shot. Whereas I feel like the XFL was a legitimate shot and can continue being a very viable business and just a league, depending on who's running it and how it will be taken off. Because this becomes successful, who knows, long years down the road becomes a feeder league. But the XFL can be something that can be a great opportunity, not only for players, but for fans, true football fans that want to see quality players, maybe want to see their stars, college players, or their favorite athletes that they saw in college that didn't get a chance to the NFL, to now see them in the spring and continually see them grow and aspire for the NFL.
Yeah, and so that brings this kind of to to really the last thing I want to talk about with you is where we go with this XFL. And I don't want to get you in any trouble with anything because I want to see you kicking again. And that, so you can tell me that sorry Tyler, you're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to hold my tongue on this one. But let's just talk about because the cool thing is that not only were you guys who played in the XFL, but you're a fan of the XFL, and as I am. So as we look to the future, I really feel like, we'll talk about speculations here in a second, but I really feel when I look at the future of the XFL that not only is there a viable product here, but I'm not talking about this whole thing of whether or not they can overtake the NFL, but I think that the XFL can truly be a league where a guy, I think a guy can go and he can play and really establish himself and be able to make a career of it. Am I wrong?
Right. No, I don't think you're wrong at all, because there's been many guys who I know that have made that route for the CFL. They couldn't do it in the NFL, so they made a career at the CFL. Now, I feel like the XFL can be way bigger and much more beneficial for guys going back to the NFL or getting into the NFL if they become successful here over the CFL. Because the CFL, there's a lot of different rules. There's these things where if you sign, you have to stay with that team for 2 years, and sometimes that kind of hurts an individual as far as trying to make it to the NFL or get back in when it comes to development. And as long as people are, making the right moves in the business side of the XFL, and if we get a great owner or a good group that comes in that knows the value of the XFL and what it is and what it can be, it's going to be tremendously successful for the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. And see, I'm like you. I think the XFL could be a really big thing. I think if it gets in the hands of the right people, the games were fun enough, and they're fantastic to sit there and watch, to where if they get some backers and start to really I really truly believe that you guys and the group of players that you've got right now, you guys are really going to be the pioneers that you might not reap the benefits of. Like you guys are building the foundation for the future. I hate to say it that way because I want to I want to see you guys succeed, but I think it's going to take some time to where I really think that some of these guys in the XFL are going to be making decent money. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I 100% agree. And the thing is, I look at it as that we are going to be the pioneers of that. Great. The thing is, for me, I wanted to be a teacher a long time ago and everything. And the thing is, being able to aspire to the next generation to know what they can have and what they're worth is going to be great, especially from the athletic perspective. Like you said, we may not be the ones reaping the benefits for it, but at least stories like mine, as far as the perseverance and the adversity I've gone through to make it to here, is going to make for more guys to keep pushing, breaking barriers to get to the XFL, make some good money, take care of their families and stuff, and be able to live their dreams.
Yeah, see, that's the thing for me. One of the things I've been blessed with is, not just, this channel, all of you guys have just been a blessing from day one, but the Lord's blessed me to be able. I love music, and I do music outside of the channel, and the Lord's blessed me to. I'm not out there, making millions and making records and that. But you know what? I can still do that, and pursue my passions with that, and the Lord's blessed me in that, and I've even made been able to make some money doing that as well, and just to see that, for the football world, to me, would just be fantastic, that guys could continue on with their passions, and like you have, and listen, I don't think people really realize this. Like, you're not just a guy who plays football. It's one thing. This is what I try to tell people. It's one thing when you're a professional and you get to spend your whole day being a professional. It's another when you're a professional and then you go and do a regular job every day. Because I don't think people know that about you. I don't want you share what you want, but you're a hardworking guy that works a regular job just like everybody else, but you're continuing to follow your dreams. And I just find that just absolutely not only admirable, but it takes it to another level for me, that it means that much more to you, that, you know, when you get done working for the day, you go back to work.
Exactly. From the morning to the night. I mean, there's been times where, you know, I've had to open the stores where I work, and then, you know, it's like at 7, you know, pretty much 7 o'clock in the morning, get off around 5 or 6, and then go get back to work on the grind, whether it's weightlifting or the vice versa. I have to close the store. That means I have to work out in the morning, kick in the morning, go work. I did a 10 to 12 hour shift. When I get off work, hey, I got to put in another, you know, shift in the gym itself. So it's like, you know, we're beating our bodies up just to make sure that, you know, we're sustaining and keeping our bodies ready for the opportunities that come about. So I've always enjoyed it. You know, I would rather always stay working because, you know, I like to keep my mind off of football. I remember there was times early in my career where I would just stick to football, and sometimes as a kicker where, you know, if you haven't gone insane at one point in your life, then probably not as a successful kicker. The thing is, you know, our minds are being messed with the whole time. You know, it gives me time to step away from football, but then also turn that back on to be able to get ready and work my craft.
So what do you think? Where are we going with the XFL? So you know what's going on, right? We've got this whole bidding, supposedly a bidding war that we're going to enter into. At the, what are your thoughts with all of it? Because I'm sure everybody else is dying, and that I haven't said a word about it yet.
I mean, the thing is it seems like every week we're hearing something different. I mean, a couple of weeks back, we're thinking that Vince McMahon was going to pull off this interesting strategy to buy back the league, and I'm like, okay, at least he knows it and knows what he wants and going to do a good job the third time around. To then hearing, you know, he's not going to do that. But then to see all these interested buyers, the amount of people that want to buy it, makes you really feel, you know, hopeful about getting bought. And then now you add Disney. You add Disney,
right.
And I'm like, at first I was shocked. And I was like, wait a minute, but that doesn't make sense. They own Fox. They own ESPN. I mean, who else? Who else would I would rather have than Disney? Because they know the product. They're going to put so much money behind it. And if they do take it, I mean, they know that the ratings are going to go up because of the certain channels that we did play on. It was happened to be on those channels. So if they can do that, and I'd be excited, and as long as it keeps on gaining more steam, because they've inquired about it. And when people inquire, they're interested, for sure. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happens next. I mean, it sucks that we have to wait till August for it to happen, but you know that's what they have to do. But I would love if it would be the Disney corporation to do it. But I think anybody that's big that can take it, great, because that's what we want to see. We want someone to take it and let's start it up next year. Pretty much start off where we left off and just hit the road.
Yeah, I know a lot of you guys, if you watched my video, I think Disney could do a fantastic job with it. If Disney really truly put their mind to it and took it, I think it would be great. The only thing for me with Disney is as long as they let the XFL be the XFL, I think it would be fantastic.
Right.
If they want to come in and and change things up, listen, it wasn't perfect. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it because some people sometimes come off and say that. Like, you guys got, though, like, they figured it out as they went, right? So with your whole, the different things, like you talked about with the kickoff, you guys were figuring things out.
Right.
The game, they'll figure it out as they go. But if Disney lets the XFL be the XFL and they just come along and really just give it that, that Disney magic, right? Dude, I think that the XFL could really go places, especially with the I'm sure you heard the rumors of adding teams and expansion and before everything went into bankruptcy. I mean, we're hearing rumors of expansion, moving Tampa Bay to Orlando and possibly San Antonio. San Diego and all these other things. I mean, was that something you guys were hearing?
Yeah, the same thing we were hearing too. When I first heard it was the LA team was definitely going to be moving to San Diego, which would have made sense because I mean they're already having a hard time with two NFL teams in the LA. So by moving to San Diego, they're hungry for football again. So we had heard like that. We had heard to the players. I mean, we had heard that the leases were being renewed at Seattle, and I figured if they're doing that, they have to be doing that for a reason. And so that makes us really feel good about what we're doing because a lot of us just want to be able to get that chance and play again, especially play where we were at. Now, of course, like you said, I hope Disney stays with the product, with the way it is. I think it was great as things were getting worked out. I personally hope they don't get rid of the kickoff because it was the only time us kickers got that whole TV time. We were on our own little island. It was awesome. It was the only we're like, oh, this is nice. We never get this view at all.
Yeah, so Ernesto,
but, I mean,
Ernesto got his. You got your 15 seconds of fame on ESPN.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's always asking me like, "Hey, what do you do for kickoff?" I'm like, "You're gonna be able to see this now." So, but that's the thing. I mean, but whatever they have to do to make it work, by all means, we have to be open to it. Certain rules and here and there, maybe they want to change things up. But Disney wants to build characters and have the characters. I mean, it's going to be there. The characters will all be there. So,
and I
think it'd be awesome to see that.
Yeah, I apologize, man. I've kept you way longer than what I
you're
said.
Fine.
And as we wind down with this, I've got two things that I want you to answer for me, and you can answer for me real quick. First thing is what was everybody's thought, and maybe you can keep this off limits, when the New York Guardians literally imploded on the sidelines? What was happening? What did you say?
I know you're going to ask that question. I knew because that's the big one everyone was asking. When that happened, that moment happened, and a lot of us were watching that game. All these heads turned to each other like, "You got to be kidding me! He did not just." It's like breaking kayfabe in wrestling. You don't do that. There you go. That is exactly a perfect. That's like you broke kayfabe on there, and we're all like, "Oh no, this is not good." That's how we literally all felt like he did not just do that. It's like taboo football. You don't do that. You don't throw. You don't throw the whole team under the bus.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like that was, dude. You hit like the nail right on the head with that, like the wrestling. Because that truly is what that was.
Yeah,
dude. So you guys were just as shocked about it as everybody else was.
Yeah, everyone was just as shocked, and even after the season, I work with the snapper. He trains with us, Scott Daly from the New York Guardians, and I remember we brought that up, and he's like, "Oh man, it was hell. It was hell that week. We just knew when that happened, we were already looking for a quarterback." And I'm like, "Man, was it that bad?" He's like, and he was one of the guys like, "You ever watch wrestling?" I'm like, "Of course I watch wrestling." He's like, "Kayfabe." I was like, "Oh yeah, kayfabe."
Dude, I love the fact that you guys are like that. All of you guys watch wrestling. That makes my day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, at the end of the day, you're just a bunch of guys, and I want to go on and with that because there's so much I want to say about the New York Guardians, when it comes to their offense and things of that nature. But we'll leave that maybe for another day if you're gracious enough. But real quick, I want to give you whatever you want to say, whatever you want to tell everybody. I don't have a big booming voice. I don't have a big stamp out there in the YouTube world, but Ernesto, you've been a blessing to me and my channel, and so I want to give you the platform to whatever you want the fans and people to know out there. I'm turning it over to you. You let them know what you want them to know, and I'm going to give you the last word here.
As far as letting them know and the fans, I mean, just know that us as players, we enjoyed your guys' experience. you guys definitely made the experience for us players, for playing professionally and living our dreams, that much more sweeter and everything about the experience. Because literally without the fans, being creative, embracing each team, embracing Seattle itself, it wouldn't have been the experience that it was without the fans. And for the players, we're always looking for chasing our dreams and looking forward to playing again in the XFL, because it was literally a dream the whole time it was there. It was a great experience. It was fun. It was exciting. It was electric. And the future can be so much brighter if it gets bought, gets taken over the way it should be, and just hit the road the way it should be, and it's going to be a lot more fun.
Thank you, man. And Ernesto, I really, truly, say that seriously. Thank you, for coming on and doing this. You didn't have to do that, and it truly has been a blessing and an honor to have you on here. You're just a sweet dude. Real quick, let everybody know where they can hit you up, and then we'll get out of here.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead and if you want to let them know where they can, people can follow you on Instagram and Twitter, whatever you do.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone can definitely follow me and check me out, and also message me through my Instagram. I'm more active there. It's Lacayo, Lacayo _89, and I always look forward to talking, just with fans and also young kickers who are looking to perfect their crafts and stuff. But yep, that's the easiest way to reach to me and everything. So, yeah, and find out all the new stuff.
All right. Well, thanks, man.